Hey, watch me take a graphic from this to this. Hey, 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 and welcome to this episode of Make It Your Own Design Academy. Um, Today, we're actually going to use an old template that I designed years and years ago. I used to sell it in a shop that I had, and I reconfigured that shop and turned the brand into the design pharmacy. So, you'll see some templates on our new site soon. And if you're watching this, in the future, then it'll most likely be on the site then, hopefully at that point. But let me know what kind of templates you guys would like to see so that I can start working on them and make them available to you all. But yeah, so I went ahead and I made some AI photos. I'm really practicing how to generate images that I actually want, if that kind of makes sense. So, what I found is that when you're doing AI images, you have to be really descriptive. So, if there's a specific feature that you want, you really have to describe it to ensure that you get something that looks as good as what you had envisioned or even better. So, I created some podcaster images. I wanted her to have a hat on her head. I wanted her to have wavy long hair. I wanted her to have the white button down shirt. And then I wanted her to be in like a podcast studio. So this is one of the photos that I got. And I'm just using Magic Grab to isolate her from the rest of the photo because she is the star of the show and the background is just going to be a background. So I'm going ahead to, excuse me, I'm going ahead to blur the rest of the background so that our young lady can stand out more in the forefront because this is all about her. So I'm going ahead to add some transparency because the original photo was white in the background. And sometimes what I like to do is, in order to add some texture, an easy fix for that is to just take whatever background that fits the situation and blur it and then make it transparent. That way it's not just on like a white background or whatever color you choose background. Like there's some type of movement in the back, something for your eye to also kind of like take notice of. So when I feel like something is looking a little too plain, then that's when I'm going to go ahead and add some form of a texture, which will be a background photo or a pattern or something of that sort, just to add some flair to the design and keep it from just being so plain. And sometimes clean and plain designs work great too. It's a great separator between all of the interesting designs. So there's nothing wrong with having a plain background. I just want to make that clear. So I'm going in to change the fonts to Poppins, and then you'll see that I add like one of those tan fonts because they feel luxurious and nice. So sometimes I like to use those as well. I will say I wouldn't use this type of a font in long form text because while they are very pretty and cute and classy and give that luxury feel, they're also hard to read. And so you can't make sales when people cannot read your content or see what's on the page on the screen. And so when you use fonts like that, you want to use them as sparingly as possible. You can use it to get people's attention, but it's very hard to truly convey a message in those types of fonts because it's just harder to read. So I decided not to make the podcast episode title a tan font for that reason. I decided to just go with the pop-ins, and I'm rearranging the body text there. I'm not going to switch out the text with more dummy text, so I'm just leaving what's already there. But you can see already that it already has, or it's already taken its own shape and its own direction from a template that I made so many years ago before Canva had like the majority of the features that it has now. Like back then, Canva was just straight to the point. You had your shapes, you had your fonts, you had your colors, and you had some of those graphic elements. But it was nothing like it is right now. So big kudos to Canva for all the advancements, for really taking their product seriously and making it a tool that at this point in many ways can compete with the professional tools that a lot of us use. And so yeah, I'm just rearranging things a little bit, and I really like how this AI image kind of turned out. It looks really good in my opinion, but let me know what you think about the AI image. I love, I'm playing around with the different styles of AI that are available in the Dreamlab. Let me put that plug in there. I did this using Dreamlab, and I'm exploring the different styles of AI photos. And so this one was under the minimalist style of photo, or of imaging or imagery. And so yeah, that's what gave me, that kind of a look. And you'll see that I'm copying a photo and it's not, the correct photo is not showing up. And that's actually one of the glitches that I've noticed with Dreamlab. When you want to copy it from that, what do you call it? That part of the interface into your project, it many times it shows, or it pastes the wrong photo, and you have to keep going back and forth to get the right photo. So you see I finally got the photo in there, and I'm just gonna make a copy. If you don't know by now, I love to make copies just so that I have the original somewhere, in the event that I need to go back to it, or start over, or if I change my mind and want to do something different. So that's what I'm doing there. And again, I'm using Magic Grab, which has become one of my favorite tools, especially when I use AI photos, because it helps me to separate everything without having to use background remover. With background remover, it'll completely remove what's behind, and most times, like the background remover will choose what to remove based on its own intelligence. But with Magic Grab, you can decide which elements you want to grab and which elements you want to leave behind. So I wanted to separately grab the lady, and then separately grab the microphone, and then leave the background the way that it was. So you'll see that I'll move the background out of the way, because I'll potentially use it. So I don't want to have to start all over with Magic Grab. So I just move it to the side. And I'm going to incorporate our podcaster's photo into this graphic. I'm going to change it up a lot, but it's still going to look good. So stay tuned. So here I'm just playing around with the arrangement of the typography or the text. And I knew I wanted to have something horizontal. I thought about doing like the outline thing, but I wasn't sure. But I did want to share that a hack for any of you, if you find a font that you love, but it doesn't have the bold version of itself, what you can do is go to effects in Canva and use that outline feature and make sure the outline color is the same as the text color. And then you can play around with the thickness, as you saw me doing just now, to make the text appear thicker or more bold. That way you don't necessarily have to compromise and get rid of the font altogether, but you can still keep the font and it can be something, ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. You can still keep the font and it can be something that people can actually see, which is commonly a problem with, the luxury fonts, or sometimes the more traditional fonts are also very thin. And so if you find yourself with a font that you really like, but you don't find that bold option, or bold is not available, then you can use the effects tab and click on outline, and then again play with the thickness and make sure that the outline color is the same color as the font so that it can appear like it's bold. So this is looking more and more like the final product that I want to go for. And so you'll see me go ahead and try to make another variation of this where I am adding that background that I had set aside before, which when you see it, it gives it a completely different vibe. Now, again, I'm going to make that copy and delete the background just so, well, not delete it, but add some transparency so that, again, you have a little bit of texture. You can see that there's something behind there, but it's not completely clear. And, it helps to add a different dimension to the photo. I'm just going to make her take up a bit more space on the graphic because, again, this is her show. And I really love how these AI photos came out. So I really want to utilize them to the max. I'm just going ahead to change the formatting of the body text because I made her bigger, and so her hat is kind of taking up more space there. And so that all the words can be seen, I'm just hitting enter on certain points of the paragraph to structure it in a way that it's not covered. I was trying to change the color here, but it wasn't looking too good, so I just went without. And then now we can work on this variation of the same design. So I wanted to make that the text color darker because it's on more of a white background or lighter background than the brown, because the brown was dark. And I'm looking for an ombre so that you can see the words more clearly, because right now it's a struggle. It is a struggle, and you want to make sure that for the most part people want to see the most important information as clearly as possible. So I'm adding that ombre in there, and you can see it's adding some strength of white in there so that we can see the text. Thankfully Canva has that layers panel, and so I can literally rearrange how I want things to be seen so that they're not hiding in the back, and I don't have to stress myself to hit backwards, forwards over and over and over. I can literally just put them where I want them to be. And so I'm playing with the sound wave a little bit because I want it to be seen, but I don't want it to be the star of the show because our lady, our AI lady, is the star of the show. All right, so you see the first thing we made, second and third, and then let's work on another one. So let's go back to the original set of templates that I created years and years ago, and we're gonna choose another design. So from the onset, I'm rearranging some things because I know I want to bring in a photo as like a hero image or a banner. And so I'm just moving things around so that I can make some space for that photo. Initially, I wanted the photo to go at the top, but then after, bringing all that text down, I figured it was too much text on top of text. So I'm back in Dreamlab to grab my photo. I'm going to use the one that's in the second row all the way to the right. And so let's see if this copies correctly so that we can utilize it in our design. It did. Thankfully, I didn't have to do it multiple times to get it in there. So I'm stretching it out because I wanted to have that banner feel. And then I'm going to crop it properly, cut some of her hat off because the focus is more so on her face and her upper body. And she's out, she's in town, she's in the city, looking like the boss that she is. So as you saw, I wanted to add some quotation marks. So I looked in elements and found something that I liked. But as you can see, the color is a bit muted. You can't see it too much. And so after I change up the text here, I will change that to, I'll add a pink to the color palette just so that it can be seen, or not seen, but noticed a bit more. Granted, you could totally keep it with the cream looking color and leave that subtle approach, but I wanted something that was going to pop out a little bit more. And so I went ahead to find a pink. I was looking on the spectrum and didn't really find what I was looking for. So then I typed in pink up at the top, which is something you can do if you're looking for a color and you're not finding the exact one that you're looking for. You could just type it up in the search bar and Canva will show you a couple of different options that you can go with. And so I added the pink to one of the text boxes, and then I left the other boxes, I believe it was dark brown, if I'm not mistaken. And then with the text box that I'm currently working on, you can see there that it's kind of on the lighter side, again, because it doesn't have that bold option. So you'll see me go into add the effects outline just so that it's a bit more legible. So again, in this case, I'm going in to try to add a bit of texture to the background. Again, you don't have to do this for all of your graphics, just the ones that you want. And I'm using Magic Grab to remove her. She looks so pretty, my goodness. And I'm just gonna move her out of the way because I'm gonna use her for the next design, but I'm taking that background and making it transparent so that it fades. And the background, it's there, but it's not there. Like that's the type of effect you want when you want to add texture to your graphic. It's not the main thing, but it catches someone's eye. Now this is the last template that we're going to be working on in this episode. And as you can see, it has a cutoff photo section. Because the background is white, you don't really see that it's a rectangle, but it is. I'm going to use that background portion to fill that space there. But then I want my podcaster to be front and center, to be, again, the star of the show. I'm just going to stretch out the box, the photo box, because this was originally designed for the 1080 by 1080, and this one is 1080 by, I think it's 1450, the larger Instagram photo, portrait photo. So I stretched that out, and you can see that there. And I just want to make sure it's in the middle, so I'm using the alignment feature. And then I'm going to find that cutout there and put her in front of that background there. Sometimes if you're not careful, because you're dragging a photo over a photo box, it'll think that you're trying to put it inside. And so you'll see there I had to kind of undo a couple of times and be strategic with which part of the box I was dragging. So the key there is wherever your cursor is, if your cursor hovers over the photo box, it's going to pull it in. So if there's a corner of your photo that you can kind of hold on to, then do that. And then I want to make her brighter because in that specific photo, it was definitely like a darker shot. And so I want people to see the brightness of her face there and still see a little bit of that background city view. And then I'm just going to change up the fonts a little bit and add her podcast name. All right, so I am rearranging, all the things we worked on and just pulling the finalized designs to the front so that we can kind of go through them all. So we started with this. Then we did this. Number 3, 4, and then 5. Well, technically 6 because 4 and 5 already passed. But yeah, that's what we worked on today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'll see you next time.